way to describe the folks in the media than to say professional deceivers. That is 100% what we're dealing with. And they are in panic mode. They're in panic mode as we move ever so closer to this election day, which is now less than 2 weeks away. Now less than 2 weeks away, November 3rd. Of course, election day in many senses of the word is already underway. We've gone from a day to practically a month around this country with early voting and so forth, which, I mean, is fine. But when you factor in the level of deceit, deception, and what we're dealing with here, it's quite remarkable. It's quite remarkable. And we're going to navigate that today. We're going to try to put some context to this. Depending upon what you look at for your news, you're either quite optimistic or completely overwhelmed and on the verge of breaking down this morning. You know, I used to go to the Drudge Report, and I still go to the Drudge Report to look at, folks, it has gone, the Drudge Report has gone from a reasonable, actually quite helpful tool to, really, I would say a pure anti-Trump grouping of articles now is what the Drudge Report is. So I've had to, look elsewhere, which again, I look to all different sources for information. But, trying to find information is quite hard, and I want to actually share that. One of the things I'm referencing today pertaining to some Trump comments, that if you really want to know what Trump said in its full context, how hard it is to find that on Google and candidly even DuckDuckGo. But we will go through that here on the program today. By the way, welcome to the program. I am your host, Todd Huff. Email todd@toddhuffshow.com. You can email me your thoughts, your opinions, your adoration and praise will also be accepted at that email. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, live, and of course, Homebase, the website. The program is streaming as well. I want to talk about a polling group that I had spoken about earlier this week, the Trafalgar Group. And I think as I talk about this, I want you to think about a question. Just put this in your mind, in the back of your mind. I had a good friend and I were chatting. By chatting, I mean texting last night. And he asked me this question, and I thought it would be something worthwhile discussing on this program today. But he asked, do I think that more Republicans will be voting for Biden, or do I think that there will be more Democrats voting for Trump? Again, will there be more Republicans that actually go into the way of John Kasich, the way of some of the other establishment Republicans, the way of the never Trumpers? Will there be more of those folks, or will there be more folks who are blue dog Democrats who've not had a voice, candidly, in this nation? If you're a Union Democrat, if you're a blue dog or a Reagan Democrat, you've been forgotten. In fact, the Democrat Party admitted several years back that you were no longer part of their mission. You were no longer part of their base. You just had to either jump on board with them and take them as they were, a group of, radical Democratic leaders that's now in control of the Democrat Party, or you don't vote, or you turn to the dark side and vote for the Republican. Basically are the choices that are available. So as we talk about this today, as we talk about polling, as we look at just the lay of the land here in the final 2 weeks, we don't talk about polling much until right about now. This is when these things may, and I say may because we're dealing again with people who I think sometimes are just inept. I think sometimes are so biased they cannot see the error of their ways, no matter what evidence is presented to them. I think some folks, simply don't understand groups of Trump voters and so forth. But to look at the landscape, and again, this is a big country with all sorts of pockets of people around it. But when you think about coast to coast in this country, you look at the different states, regions, types of people in this country. I mean, there's dramatic differences, of course. New York City is dramatically different than a rural community in Iowa or Kansas or what have you. But I think sometimes we're tricked into ignoring the things that we see right before our very eyes. And the Trafalgar Group, who we talked about recently, actually, Mr. Cahaley, Robert Cahaley, was on Hannity last night talking about his polls and why his polls are better than other polls, more accurate. Back in 2016, they were one of the only groups that, in fact, they may have been the only one to predict, based upon their polling, that Trump would win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Of course, everyone else said that was effectively impossible. You go back in time, and as I'm talking about this, I'd forgotten this until I just said that, but you go back in time to 2016, and for those of you who are political nerds, which may involve me from time to time, but you'll remember the night before the election in 2016, that Bill and Hillary Clinton and Barack and Michelle Obama all went, I believe, to Philadelphia. I know it was to the state of Pennsylvania, but I think it was specifically to Philadelphia. And the reason was because Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the whole state, was more competitive than they had ever realized and they had ever really wanted to admit. And turns out Trump won the state, which was shocking to them at the time because, of course, the only way Trump could win is if an asteroid hits Earth, which apparently is something people are worried about today, an asteroid hitting Earth the day before, after, on election day, some such thing, which, of course, which to many is, I guess, a bit of a prediction of things to come with another 4 years of Trump, should that be the case. But anyway, it's not a big asteroid. But anyway, there's that concern out there as well. But back in 2016, there was this false sense of security for Hillary Clinton. And if you looked at the polls, they all said this. Now, in hindsight, all these talking heads today, they want us to forget just how wrong they were. They want to explain to us how the polls really weren't wrong. And if you look, they were all within the margin of error and blah, 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 that sort of stuff. But I remember distinctively, in fact, I've got a screenshot of this. I remember the morning of the election, taking a picture of the predictions on the Huffington Post's website. It said Hillary Clinton, and it said the odds of her being president, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 98 point something percent. President Trump was like 1.6 or 1.2%. And I'm sure there's someone out there that's going to say, well, Todd, that is really, they didn't say Trump's odds were zero, so this was the one chance that President Trump had to win the election worked out this way. It's interesting to me how people think about elections, and you've heard me from time to time talk about this. The pundits talk about, when this debate happens tomorrow night, oh man, it's going to, Biden's going to sweep people off their feet, and there's going to be massive appeal, a massive mass exodus from Trump to Biden. Oh man, tomorrow, then the next day there's a Trump tweet. Now people are going to come back to Trump as though, folks, we're dealing with, I'm not ignoring the fact that there are people like that, but that is not the vast majority of people. In fact, the vast majority of people see this for what this is. This is an ideological civil war, nonviolent, largely so far, thank God, and hopefully it stays that way. Largely nonviolent. I say largely because we do see violence, and we see politically motivated violence in our cities as these cities blaze from time to time. We see that happening. We see people who are prepared, the city of Chaz. The city of Chaz, for example. Oz told me last night she read an article. Babylon Bee is quickly becoming one of the favorites around here. But Babylon Bee had something yesterday that I forget exactly the context, but something about they had made posters for, travel to Seattle to see the ancient ruins of the great civilization of Chaz and that sort of thing. But we literally had a occupation, right? It was occupied. It was controlled by insurgents, part of the city of Seattle. Violently there was violence. You've seen this stuff. I mean, it's not surprising. The media doesn't really spend much time talking about it because that, of course, those folks are radical leftists or It's interesting. Anarchists, radical leftists on paper should be not the same, but in other ways, they're completely the same person. They just want something other than having to be responsible for themselves. They just want to upset the status quo, that sort of thing. But anyhow, but you look at this wide, this country that we live in from coast to coast, and you ask yourself, generally speaking, are Republicans are likely to vote for Biden, or are Democrats more likely to vote for Trump? Of course, the truth is most Republicans will vote for Trump and most Democrats will vote for Biden. But we're told to believe things. We're told to follow this media narrative that in some instances wants to have us believe that Biden's up over 10 points nationwide. Up over 10 points. Does anybody believe that? Does anybody believe on Election Day it's going to be 55% to 45% or whatever that number turns out to be when you factor in some third-party candidates and that sort of thing? Does anyone really believe that that's where this country is? I've said, and I've been on the record as saying this is going to come down. It's obvious. It really is obvious. All feelings aside, you just look at this. It's going to come down to key states. It's going to come down to Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida, Minnesota, Nevada, or as Trump says, Nevada, New Hampshire. North Carolina. I'm probably skipping a couple of others. Some would say Texas and Georgia. I don't believe that. Some would throw Arizona in there. I think you could throw Arizona in before those other two states. But those are the states. If you live here in Indiana, and of course you need to go out and vote, that's one of the hesitations of saying that Trump's going to win Indiana. If Trump doesn't win Indiana, then it's going to be a landslide for Biden. Let's put it that way. Likewise, if Biden doesn't win Connecticut or Massachusetts or New York, then it's going to be a landslide for Trump. But it's going to come down to these, say, 10 states, and it's going to be close. Now, if all 10 states are close and there's the same victor on one side, be it Biden or Trump, the Electoral College will look lopsided. But it's like playing a 7-game series. The World Series just opened up last night. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays. I watched a little tiny bit of it, not a very tiny bit, but nonetheless, started last night. It's a 7-game series. It's theoretically possible for one of the teams to sweep the other 4-0, and it looked like, man, they got swept, but they could have been all 4 of those games could have gone to extra innings, and the other team, the team that swept them, won by 1 run. And then the question is that, do you call that a dominating series, or is that just a very tight competitive series that broke one way for one team and, of course, the other way for the other team? That's really what we're looking at here. And so I want to look at these Trafalgar Group polls. I want to play a little bit of this interview that Hannity had with the president of Trafalgar Group, Robert Cahaly, and I want you to listen to what he's talking about. I want you to listen to how he's talking about why so many of these polls are incorrect, because I want to go through if his predictions are right, and they can still change here in the last 2 weeks, but Trump's going to win this again. It's going to be tight. It's going to be, again, close. He needs 270 electoral votes. Predictions show that based on Trafalgar's numbers, again, not saying that they will be right. I'm just simply saying that they were the most right or among the most right back in 2016. If his numbers are correct, their numbers are correct, then Trump will have somewhere in the high 270s to the low 280s. Maybe even if all those states break one way, he may be over 300. He may be over 320, which will look bad on the scorecard. But again, could be a series of tight games, if you will, elections per state, right? If the elections are close, then it'll look, but Trump wins every one, or vice versa, Biden wins every one. This could look much different on the final scorecard, but yet it could still be a tight election. This will be a tight election. So you've got to get out and vote, but there's no reason to panic. I see what the media is telling us, but I don't just see what they're telling us. I look at the way in which their behavior. Folks, they're freaking out. It is not supposed to be like this. And they're not supposed to be, after 5 years, 5 years, you could say 4 or 5 years, of demonizing, destroying President Trump. There is no way that President Trump should be he shouldn't be getting one electoral vote in this election. That's the way that they look at this. This guy's been impeached. He's killed 200 and some thousand people because he's, personally brought in COVID. He's been trying to, be a dictator, a fascist. He runs concentration camps on the southern border. This is how they talk about this guy. And now you're looking at a situation where he may very well win this election. They're beside themselves, I'm telling you, and it's only going to get worse. So buckle up, and this debate tomorrow night is going to be one of those instances where this will get more heated and more intense. And we'll talk about these things as the program comes together. Got to take a time out. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Corin Homes is expanding their 55-plus community. Briar Creek is the only senior manufactured home community in Indianapolis featuring Indiana-built homes. Floor plans and finishes starting at $75,000. Enjoy affordable, low-maintenance lifestyle with the charm of a residential neighborhood. Located minutes from I-465 in Fort Harrison State Park. Corin Homes, family-owned and operated since 1955. Check us out at COHRONhomes.com. Mention the Todd Huff Show and receive a $1,000 discount on your new home.
Did you know that there are 21,000 chimney fires annually? It's one of the reasons why it's so important to have a CSIA certified chimney technician clean and inspect your chimney every year. Keep your family safe by joining our 3-year sweep and inspection plan. And mention Todd to be entered to win $1,000 in cash. Contact Smalling Masonry, a Christian-owned business, at 317-903-8121 to learn more today.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Have you seen the price of custom cabinetry and countertops lately? If you're looking for quality, affordable remodels, call Carriage House Woodworking. Our helpful professionals will walk you through every step of the process. We're offering a free sink base with qualifying purchases. Just enter CHWEINC.com/Todd or call 317-406-3042. Call Carriage House Woodworking. You won't have to spend your kids' inheritance just to upgrade your kitchen.
Hi, this is Kenton with Christian Community Connect. We're a network of business professionals that are committed to living out our faith in the marketplace by preferring one another in love while serving everyone. With online listings at $27 per month, if you're a Christian in business, committed to treating others as you would want to be treated, we would love to include you. Check our reviews and sign up at ChristianCommunityConnect.com.
All your life, you've planned and taken care of the people you love. They always knew you had a plan. Taking care of your final wishes will give them one final gift. Buying your headstones direct through Thomas Monument saves your loved ones additional stress during a difficult time and saves money by cutting out the middleman. Call 317-244-6525 or go online to thomasmonument.com to understand why families have trusted us since 1962.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end to your property management headaches. Zuluscape has over 20 years of experience helping landlords throughout central Indiana and taking the stress out of owning a rental. From A to Z, let Zuluscape handle it all so you can enjoy owning a rental instead of hating being a landlord. Give us a call at 317-663-8485 or visit our website at zuluscape.com.
Would you like to save 20% or more on your insurance? Let AIA and Avon do a free comparison for you. As an independent agent, we can find savings that fit your needs and budget. We work for you, not the insurance companies. Whether your insurance need is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com.
Welcome back. Now, those of you that listen to this program, you know that what elects a president are things called electoral votes. The Electoral College, they're the ones who actually cast the electoral votes. Now, there are rules for that, and the Electoral College vote is determined by the vote within each particular state and the District of Columbia, which I don't want to talk about that. That's a whole other topic to begin with. Electoral vote, whatever. But I don't want to get into that. I want to get into these polls for the Trafalgar Group. Now, as I look at this map, as I look at the map in this country of all 50 states, or 57 if you're an Obama supporter, and the District of Columbia here, when I look at this, I mean, look, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But when I look at the states that both sides should win pretty, I don't want to say easily, because there are certainly states that could flip. Some of these states will be closer than we expect. Some of these states will be blowouts, and there's no chance for one candidate. There's no, legitimate chance for one candidate to win one state or another. But when I look at this, and again, this is not written in stone. There's a reason we have elections. Those votes need to be counted to determine this. But just looking at what I know about the states and where they poll and how they voted in the past, and just issues that matter regionally in this country, it appears to me that the Democrats are probably going to get, Biden, I should say, would get at least around 212 electoral votes. That's my guesstimate. And Trump's going to get at least around 205, meaning that's kind of the floor for each one of these. Now, a couple of those states could flip, but again, that would include, could Colorado flip, for example? That's an example of a state that I'm counting, unfortunately, for Biden. I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, but basically that leaves 9 states that are up for grabs. Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota. Yes, Minnesota. I'm telling you, Minnesota is a state. Minnesota is a state that could play a very, very critical role, especially if Trump wins that. I'm reminded of the 1984 map of the United States based upon who won which state. And the whole state was red in 1984 for Ronald Reagan, except Minnesota, which is, of course, the state that I just completely drew a blank. Walter Mondale, there we go, won his home state back in 84. But other than that, the rest of the country voted for Reagan, which is an incredible feat if you think about it. But anyhow, so Minnesota, Wisconsin is another, Michigan, Pennsylvania, I think New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Florida. So if we look at what the Trafalgar polls are showing right now, Wisconsin, now again, you look at these things, or you look at, say, the Real Clear Politics averages or some other mainstream source for polls, you'll find that Trump is trailing in pretty much all those states from their polling. I think it is all those states as I'm looking here. I don't know about North Carolina. But if you look at the polls, according to Trafalgar Group polls, they say These states are all very close. Wisconsin, they have Biden up by 1.3% right now. So if we give that to Biden, just for the sake of discussion here, Trump, believe it or not, is up in Michigan, according to their polling, but very, very slightly by 0.6%. Now, these are all within the margin of error. So you can see what I'm saying as far as if all these states trend one direction or the other, it can move the electoral college numbers really far. One direction, it can skew them one way or the other. Now, Trafalgar has Trump up 2.3% in the state of Florida, which is important. That's a big state. That's 29 electoral votes. They have Biden ahead in Pennsylvania by 2.3%. Again, still a winnable state. In fact, I think now that I say that, I think their latest poll, they just released one that had him back at Biden just has a 1.1% lead in Pennsylvania. You have Arizona up, Trump's up 4 points there. Minnesota is literally a statistical dead heat. It's within like a 0.3 or 4% as well. So that's anybody's guess. But they also have Trump up in North Carolina. The point is, if Trump wins Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, and Arizona, which is what the prediction from Trafalgar Group is, that wins him the election. He no longer has to win Minnesota. He no longer has to win Wisconsin. He no longer has to win Pennsylvania. He no longer has to win New Hampshire. He no longer has to win Nevada, which I believe Trafalgar I have to check on this, but I think Trump may be potentially winning. I need to check on that one. I'm not sure, but maybe in Nevada. That's another close one. But the point is, if you watch the mainstream media today, the story is pretty much how bad will Trump lose. But these polls have some inherent problems. And so I want to play this soundbite, which I was hoping to get to this segment. But I want you to hear the explanation given by Robert Cahaly, who's the president of Trafalgar. I want you to hear his explanation for what is actually going on with the polls. And of course, there's biased polls. There's polls that are meant to dissuade people from voting. I mean, there's literally, folks, again, I start off the program, professional deceivers. There are professional deceivers in the industry of media, a lot of them. In fact, with the notable few exceptions, journalism is dead. It is. With notable few exceptions, journalism is dead. And the same, I would say, is true for polling. Polling is used as a tool, as an instrument, and they have nefarious purposes for this. In fact, I would say that we have to think ahead here, and we have to look at what it's going to look like should Trump actually win those states I just mentioned, and should the rest of the map hold for Trump as I think that it will. If that's the case, they've laid the groundwork to say that Trump has colluded yet again to steal an election. He's interfered and created numbers because what the polls are showing versus what the actual results of the election are showing indicate that there's some discrepancies and some disparities. Ergo, Trump must have colluded with somebody, Russia, Ukraine, the Chinese, the asteroid, who knows, colluded with somebody to steal the election from this time, former Vice President Joe Biden. Just get ready for this. Prepare for potential lawsuits. Prepare for votes to be counted days and weeks later. This is all possible. That's why this vote, by the way, Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation vote will be held on Monday. That's why this needs to, she needs to be confirmed. This may actually, I'm not sure where that sound came from. This may actually be going to the Supreme Court. Who knows? Who knows? And by the way, the vote is Monday for Amy Coney Barrett. We can't celebrate quite yet because there's a lot of time. This is an eternity in politics. I don't put anything past these folks to try to do something here in the days leading up to her confirmation on Monday. Got to take a break. Come back and play this soundbite. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Business leaders, are your employees satisfied with their jobs? Do they enjoy coming to work and feel valued? Workforce Chaplains can help. Locally owned, we work with organizations to provide holistic care to their employees. I'm Marcus Schrader, president of Workforce Chaplains, and we offer your team a 24/7 support system that positively affects your company's culture and productivity. With our personalized pricing and diverse support system, we handle the issues that you wish you had time for. To learn more, visit us at workforcechaplains.com.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indie Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indie Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.
There's a lot going on in the world today, and with so much going on, it's sometimes hard to maintain balance. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." I'm Pastor Jeff Floyd of the Martinsville First Church of the Nazarene. To experience how life can be better with Jesus, come worship at M1 Church at 10 a.m. this Sunday, 1609 John R. Wooden Drive in Martinsville, or catch our live stream service on Facebook at M1 Church. For more information, visit m1nazarene.org. Have a great day today in Jesus.
Our sense of smell stimulates memory and emotion. A scent can seemingly transport us to another place and time. Homemade, hand-poured candles and melts from spur-of-the-moment creations will give your nose the experience the rest of your body is missing during any season of the year. Crackling firewood, fresh-cut grass, Macintosh apple, and even racing fuel are some of their over 200 engaging fragrances. Visit spurofthemomentcreations.com and enter coupon code TODD at checkout to receive 15% off your order today.
Does your business have a plan for social media marketing? Are you reaching the right audiences through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the list goes on? Are you learning from the data? Jarbo can help. Our team doesn't just come in and tell you how to be successful. We help you execute and measure your sales and marketing efforts. Give us a call at 317-834-6560 or visit us online at jarbomarketing.com. That's jarbomarketing.com. Make social media work for you.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial grade service for your home.
Welcome back. So let's play a bit of this. Talking with Oz here behind the scenes. Asked her the question, are there going to be more Republicans voting for Biden or more Democrats voting for Trump? We'll get to that. I have some thoughts on that. But let's play. This is Hannity interviewing last night Robert Cahaly, the president of Trafalgar Group. And I want you to hear his explanation. Hannity asks him, what are you seeing that other pollsters are not seeing? Because, again, when you look at the national average of polls across this country at realclearpolitics.com, it's something like +9 for Biden, something like that. I don't know. It changes from day to day based upon what polls they pull in there. But basically, Biden up close to 10 points. Some polls show Biden up 14 points, again, nationally. But we don't elect a president nationally. We elect a president through 50 state elections plus the District of Columbia's election. So that being said, let's listen to what Robert Cahaly has to say about polling and why methodology matters. Here you go.
Thank you, Sean. What we've noticed is that these polls are predominantly missing the hidden Trump vote, that what referred to as the shy Trump voter. There is a clear feeling among conservatives and people that are for the president that they're not interested in sharing their opinions so readily on the telephone. We've seen people be beat up, harassed, doxxed, have their houses torn up because they express political opinions that are not in line with the politically correct establishment. And so these people are a lot less hesitant, are more hesitant to not participate in polls. So if you're not compensating for this, if you're not trying to give them a poll that they can participate in with a lower threshold that would make them feel more comfortable that it's anonymous, you're not going to get honest answers.
Okay, that's an important factor. I mean, you look around the landscape. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who are loud and proud for Trump. God bless those folks. I'm happy. That's great. I see Trump parades all around here lately, where I live. All around the country, Trump parades being organized by all sorts of people. You see boat parades. You see, anything you can imagine you see for Trump. And I would maintain more energy. There was a lot of energy and excitement for Trump in 2016, but there's even, I think, more now in 2020. I think more. I think people have seen it. They see what we're fighting against. They see what is at stake. They see that one party is truly the antithesis, unfortunately, of our founding principles. They see what's hanging in the balance. They hear things like Green New Deal. They hear things like, increase taxes, repeal Trump tax cuts. They see Biden's top income tax, based upon what we can put together and ascertain, tells us that he's going to have a 62% top income tax bracket. That is not good. You look at all these things. You hear about national mask mandates. You hear about national, shutdowns, which Harris Biden campaign has talked about in the past. These are critically important issues. How are businesses supposed to survive? You look at what's happened in some of these liberal cities, liberal states run by radical leftists. Michigan, for example. Michigan, I don't know if you saw the ad that pretends to show you some struggling bar owner that's actually a millionaire, which I got nothing against millionaires, but he's a millionaire donor to the Democrat Party, acting as though Trump's the one that caused his bar problems in Michigan because of coronavirus, ignoring the reality and the fact that the main reason he's struggling with his bar is because of what's happened with Governor Whitmer's insane totalitarian shutdown response and reaction. There's a lot hanging in the balance here. And so there's two diametrically opposed worldviews. And by the way, if you show support for Trump or for the worldview that's not led by Biden, that's not endorsed by Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, I referenced yesterday the moment on the hot mic where they were criticizing the flyover, how much money that cost at the, whatever it was, the Chiefs and whoever they played football game, which I know none of you probably watched anyway. I just saw it on, I don't know, somewhere online. And then Aikman says that won't happen. By the way, Aikman said it won't happen in a Harris Biden administration. He actually said Harris Biden, which I find so rich and entertaining I can't even explain to you. Even they refer to it themselves as a Harris Biden administration. So point being, there's so much hatred, animosity, and on the one side. And I'm not saying there's none on the other side. I know that it takes, in many instances, two to tango. But it is clear where the violence stems from and where the radical implementation of said violence in everyday life is coming from. It's coming from the likes of Antifa. And so this scares some people. Some people say, look, I don't want to put a Trump sign up. I don't want to wear a Trump t-shirt, a Trump hat, a MAGA this, a Trump flag that, and I'm not doing any of that. In fact, if someone calls me to ask me who I'm voting for, I think he says somewhere else in this interview, it was something like 10% of Trump voters. It's something like that. That may not be correct. But 10% of Trump voters are not open Trump voters. And so he's saying they're being persuaded or they're being intimidated, I guess, by the pollsters. And so they're not responding affirmatively. And so there's doubt and question as to really what they're telling the pollsters. And Robert Cahaley says that there's some ways to get around this. And I think I've mentioned before, they've asked the question of who's your neighbor supporting. And that's where you see a flip in polls in some instances. In fact, I think I saw a 10-point flip. And the theory is that the reason that's the case is because that's really where people are saying what they want their neighbor to do, which is what they're really going to do, which is vote for Trump. So anyway, that's the lay of the land here. So again, what I'm going to talk about when we get back, ask yourself this question again. Are more Republicans going to vote for Biden, or are more Democrats going to vote for Trump? I've got some thoughts on this. There's some data. I think the data shows 11% of 11% of Republicans will vote for Biden, 8% of Democrats will vote for Trump. I want to talk about that when we get back. I'm not saying that's correct. In fact, I don't think that's correct. I want to explain why, and I want to explain why this could be really, really good news for Trump. On the other side of this break, sit tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
If you filed for a 6-month extension on your taxes this year, October 15th is a crucial deadline. Many of the millions of individuals who filed for an extension have still yet to file before the October deadline. If you need help, call Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group, 317-288-5260. It's important to file your taxes before the deadline in order to avoid penalties. Even if you can't pay, or even if it's been a few years since you filed, you have to file that return this year. If you're facing a tough tax situation, Jody and the team at Midwest Tax Group can help you through it by filing any back taxes owed or even setting up a payment arrangement with the IRS. You need a professional you can trust with years of experience to help you avoid any tax pitfalls and make sure you get every deduction you deserve. And as Jody's client, you can consult with him year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260 or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing, and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick.
Dial the number, spell the words.
For on time.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
Are you one of the growing number of Hoosiers who are concerned about higher taxes, increased spending, and massive debt? So am I. I'm Donald Rainwater, the Libertarian candidate for governor of the state of Indiana. I believe that all Hoosier businesses provide the necessities of life to their owners and employees, and that all Hoosiers are essential. As your governor, I will safeguard your rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness as defined by you, not the government. To learn more, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. We need better government, not bigger government. My name's Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message. Paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
Welcome back. I am amazed as we address this question, will more Democrats vote for Trump or more Republicans for Biden? I'm amazed at how people can be so easily convinced to believe something that contradicts what they've experienced personally. I'm not saying that that's never possible. I'm simply saying how easy it is to convince people. Because what are polls, folks? Polls are nothing more. If you look at the number of people that are polled, it's usually somewhere around 1,000. It could be several hundred. It could be closer to 2,000, but it's not 150,000 people or some such things. These are small numbers of people. Focus groups are used. Focus groups are even smaller numbers of people. So these are things you can do. I mean, you can't run a poll specific. I guess you could, but I mean, you can ask people. You can engage in conversation. It's not unlike what they're doing now. They have tools to get people from a wider range of backgrounds and make sure that different groups and segments are included proportionally and all this sort of stuff. That's where methodology and assumptions come in. How many of those people that think similarly to that are going to be voting and that sort of thing. But I think of it like this. When I look at this election, I certainly know that there will be Republicans that vote for Biden and there will be Democrats that vote for Trump. That's, I think, clearly the case. And in fact, maybe even in larger numbers than maybe we're used to. But I'll tell you, there's another group, and I told Oz this during one of the breaks, but there's the group of people like Ben Shapiro and Glenn Beck who didn't vote for Trump in 2016 who now say they're going to. So what about those folks? But I have a theory that says this. I think the Blue Dog Democrat, the Reagan Democrat, these are Democrats that exist. I was raised in a Union Democrat home, so I'm quite familiar. These are people that, have conservative values, but are Democrat because they have been convinced that Democrats look out for the working man and Republicans only care about the wealthy businessman or prepared to allow the wealthy businessman to exploit the working class. And so that's why they vote for Democrats. It's a single issue voter. I'm telling you, folks, it is a single issue voter because a lot of these folks are pro free speech. They're pro Second Amendment. They're pro life. They're not falling in line with these other liberal issues. But they're Union Democrats because of that issue. Trump has a way of connecting with them. And folks, where do those folks live in higher proportion? The states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, maybe even into Minnesota, the Rust Belt. So you got to ask yourself, on top of will Republicans vote for Biden or Democrats for Trump, where are they? I think the Republicans that'll vote for Biden are predominantly going to be in states that are already blue: Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, etc. I don't know. Surely there's folks here that fit that mold that'll vote for Trump or vote for Biden that are Republicans in Indiana, but I don't think that that's going to make any noticeable difference whatsoever in this part of the country. And that, my friends, is what matters the most. That's what matters the most. And so this, I think, again, is good news for Trump. Got to take a break. Listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
Our word can't be diluted, because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Did you know that there are 21,000 chimney fires annually? It's one of the reasons why it's so important to have a CSIA certified chimney technician clean and inspect your chimney every year. Keep your family safe by joining our 3-year sweep and inspection plan. And mention Todd to be entered to win $1,000 in cash. Contact Smalling Masonry, a Christian-owned business, at 317-903-8121 to learn more today.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the health care they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Welcome back. Bottom line is, folks, no matter what the media tells you, no matter how much they freak out, act like this is over, this in many ways is a repeat of 2016. I'm not predicting. I don't predict this stuff. I think it's a fool's game to try to predict an election based upon voters who may decide to choose a president based upon their favorite color, where they prefer to have their lunches, that sort of thing. So, but I will say this. There's a lot to be optimistic about. I like the way this is shaping up. I do. I really do. It doesn't mean it's a guaranteed victory, but there's a lot of good news on the horizon for Trump, and they do not want you to see this. That's why this debate will matter tomorrow night, but I've got to go. We'll talk about that later. Guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow. SDG, take care.
Daniel Elliott, chairman of the Morgan County Republican Party.
I'm excited that Hoosier Republicans and conservatives are eager to re-elect President Trump. But as you know, this ideological battle we're fighting runs all the way up and down the ballot. That's why I'm asking you to vote Republican from the very top of your ballot all the way down to the bottom of your ballot. Every election is important, and we must win as many of these elections as possible to ensure that we defend our liberties through constitutional limited government. We need your vote down the ballot for conservatives like Indiana Senator Rod Bray from District 37 and Morgan County Coroner Mike Ellis. If you love liberty and the Constitution, I'm asking you to join conservatives all across the Hoosier State and vote Republican all the way down the ballot. This ad is paid for by the Morgan County Republican Party.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today, providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price. Our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create, on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
Hi, this is Kenton.